I'm Travis with Golden Blue Barbecue, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about our new smoker we just built. We did this build in conjunction with UDSparts.com and Island Outdoors, so thanks to those guys out there, go hit them up. So the first thing you're going to notice about our smoker is it's not your standard ugly drum smoker, which is just one 55-gallon drum vertical. To hold more ribs and better cuts of meat and bigger cuts of meat, we decided to do something with a horizontal drum. We looked around, we found a bunch of different ideas, and a lot of people have actually done these, so we decided to reach out and do one. You only see 2 drums, we actually used 3 drums. The reason for that is when we made the doors, we used the 3rd drum and actually cut the doors out bigger than what we cut the openings out for. So I'll get into a little bit more about that here in a little bit. Some people are going to say we completely overbuilt this using 55-gallon drums, but we wanted it to last, especially since it's going to be competing with us and traveling with us to competitions. That's why we used the welded on hinges, the heavier intake tubes. So part of the reason we opted for the weld on intake tubes like this is, you'll notice they attach to the lower drum, but they weld on to the upper drum. We did that to help with rigidity, just make everything a lot more robust as we're traveling. Plus this brings the intakes up to where it's very easy for us to deal with. We use latches on all the doors, so we got 2 on the actual cook chamber, 1 on the firebox. We use these drop style handles, which work out really well, especially on the chamber door, because when you open it, you're actually still able to reach it fairly. You're able to still actually reach it really well. One thing we did do on the hinges from UDS parts, they open all the way. So what we did, we actually welded in a little tab on the back side to work as a stop. So it actually stops it from opening any farther than this. So, and when we fabbed all this up, we made sure that we could still access the handle. We have the wheel kit, the intake tubes. So what we did for the doors, because I know a lot of people ask me questions about the doors. So what we did for the cook chamber, we came in 2 inches from each side. Figured out where our frontmost part was, drew our vertical line. We then came and figured out where our very top point was, and we actually kicked it back 3 inches past that. That was to also help when we open the door, you're actually past that high plane to help hold your door back. So what we did, we cut this door out. We took that door then, and on our 3rd barrel, we matched the ridges up to that barrel, set it on top. We then traced an inch around that one, and then we cut that out. That's actually the door you see here. The point for that is, with there being an inch more of a gap from what we cut here, when you close this lid and cinch it down with the latches, you have an inch door that actually comes over the barrel 1 inch. And you can kind of see that right here. You can kind of see how it comes down. And it fits together very tight. I highly doubt we're going to get away from not being able to use these hinges or these latches just from the way the barrels actually fit together. But it's going to be very well seen. There's a couple small gaps, which will be alright because we can draw these latches down a little tighter. I'm hoping not to have to use a gasket, but if so, we do have gasket material to put around here, and once we add gaskets, there will be no leakage. It's already a fairly tight seam the whole way around on here and on the Firebox doors. For the Firebox door size, what we did, we took the charcoal chamber we have, which we're using the Island Outdoor, I believe it's the 1440. That's a 14-inch circumference round charcoal chamber. So I live in a development, so all my neighbors are driving around and probably wondering what the hell I'm doing. But so we use the UDS parts 1440. I've used that charcoal basket before. I like it. It's a really nice charcoal basket. So what we did, we just kind of figured out how big of an opening we have to have for the charcoal chamber for that to slide in easily and out. And we did the same thing on it. We cut out, we marked our center line coming down from our peak on the cut here, and then we came off, cut that door out. We then took that door off, put it on our third parts drum as well, and same thing, we marked an inch out around that one, cut that bigger door out, and that bigger door is the door that you see here that we're currently using for that. Same thing, we have an inch more door the whole way around the opening to help with sealing this up, and as a place to add a gasket when we need it. So I want to reposition the camera a little bit so y'all can see inside this thing. Alright, so I'll show you all what we did inside here. So inside we built this removable grate. Now I know a lot of people have commented on Facebook and asked why we didn't make this removable. Well, as you can see, we did. So we actually made this in two parts. There's a bigger grate, and we have a smaller grate that comes out. So all we did, we just took the steel, made up these grates, and we may end up welding in a center support bar, but for right now we're not worried about that. I think this grate will work out pretty well for us. It's not heavy enough to hold a whole cow, but for some ribs or brisket and that kind of stuff, it will work out fine. And before y'all start complaining, I know a lot of people have said, oh, you gotta take the liner out. I know this. We just left it in here for mock-up right now. This is actually getting taken to get sandblasted and powder coated. So while they're sandblasting the outside, I want to have them sandblast the liner off as well. So that's why the liner's still in it. We're still in the fab up, working out all our issue phase. So that's why the liner's still in there. So that's what we did. And yeah, I know I probably could have put another rack in the back here, but like I said, this is mainly going to be used for competitions. So this is what I wanted for the way that I'm planning on doing the competitions. So as you can see, there's a big, nice surface area here. It's going to be interesting to see how many racks of ribs we can get in here. I'm thinking might be able to squeeze 5, maybe even 6 racks of ribs in here if you play around with it. Quite a few pork butts, briskets. So I know some of y'all want to see how we actually are opening between the fire chamber and the top drum here. So let me grab the camera and I'll show you all that. So this is what we've got for now. We've got a couple, this is a 4-inch hole here. Then we got 4 3-inch holes, and then we have 4 1.5-inch holes. I'm going to play around with a big cookie sheet to use it as a baffle, to hope that it's more of an indirect style of cook. But I left myself plenty of meat here that I can play around if I need to drill more holes that I can. So once we kind of get this more tuned in, actually start cooking with a little bit, I'll show you all the baffle plate idea and how that worked out and that kind of stuff. So yeah, here's what we're looking at for the inside, and you can see our rails on how we got the cooking grates in here. Alright, so another question that I've been getting a lot on Facebook and other social media, Instagram, stuff like that, is how did we cut this seam and know how to cut it to fit these barrels together? I'm not going to lie, this was probably the most stressful part of this whole build, was figuring out how to do this. Looking around, I found a couple websites thanks to some members of UDS Parts, and they're not UDS Parts, but thanks to the some of the members on the Ugly Drum Facebook group. Somebody had put a link into a website where you go in, you basically put in the dimensions of your drums, which it's a pipe fitting website. So you basically put it in the 2 dimensions of your pipe, what you need, and it gives you a 20 sheet printout template that you then cut and tape together. Now I did that, and I'm not going to lie, it turned out horrible. It was so out of spec and wonky. I don't know if it was my fault or what, but anyway, I went to a buddy of mine who's an engineer and told him what I needed, and he actually came up with a CAD image and then printed it out on his plotter life size. So it was a 1-to-1 scale. I'll put a picture of that template in right now. So what we did, that template actually goes on the inside. So we taped it to the inside of the drum, and I apologize we didn't get a picture of that. We were so excited to get started we completely forgot. But you tape that template to the inside of the drum. We came down about 1 inch off the top. You tape it to the inside of the drum, then you trace around it. Remove the template, cut it with a sawzall, or we use the cut-off wheel on a grinder, and we cut it out. Now we left about 1/4 inch off of the line. That way we had a little bit to play with. Now you'll see these ribs here. These ribs caused an issue because when you cut these, that cut is for 2 perfect cylinders without ribs. So we had to do these ribs. So what we did was we notched out for those ribs, and you can see that in this picture here. So once we made those notches for the ribs, this thing just sit together like it was meant to be. We really lucked out on that, and a lot of that success goes to my coworker Ben, who actually did all the fabrication and welding on this drum. He knocked it out of the park. So what we did once we got that together, we actually just tack welded this point. We tack welded the ribs and a few other tack welds. Now we left everything tack welded while we finished fabricating. And once everything was kind of fabricated and welded up, then we actually went through, well, I say we, Ben went through and actually welded up the whole thing. And then we welded on the lid. So like I said, a lot of people have asked me for this template, and I agree. There needs to be a template out there that people can go and buy, or even the CAD file. So I've been talking to the fine folks up there at Island Outdoor and UDSparts.com, and we're trying to get you all a template. I actually mailed them the template that I had made up for this. The goal is, hopefully once they get the template in hand, they're going to work on getting a readily available template to where anybody can go to UDSparts.com, buy the template to build this, and you too can have a template. Because like I said, I know a lot of people is trying to find a template to do this, and I'm sure if there was a template out there, a lot more people would do this style of drum, because that cut is intimidating. Along with that template, UDSparts.com also offers this as a kit. Now you don't get the drums, but all the parts that I use to build this, you can go to their website and buy. That does include the logo plate on the back. If you're not competing or you don't want that, you can save weight there. The kit is a little pricier for some of you backyarders or people who just want a budget build, but keep in mind, this is very heavy intake tubes, very heavy weld-on hinges, very nice handles. It includes your charcoal chamber, your wheel kit, which is very heavy duty, well made. It includes all your hinges. It includes your probe ports, which I haven't got on mine yet, but it's a one-stop shop and go kit, and all you'd have to supply is your 3 drums and then your material for your cooking grate. I'll link all of that to the link below, and once we get a template for this, I'll make sure I post it, and I'm sure the guys up there at UDS Parts will be sharing it on social media also. So that's all I got for this build. This is just a quick video I wanted to do to get you all some input and actually let you see it. Hopefully in a few days this will be going down the road to the place we've chosen to work with to get everything powder coated. So I got to strip it down for powder coating and how I want to do that. Once we get it back from powder coating and get it all reassembled, I'm going to do another follow-up video so y'all can see everything, and I'll do more of a in-depth review on all the parts we used, product numbers, and all that. So if you have any questions, put them in the link below. Like I said, check out our Facebook, check out our Instagram, and also check out the fine folks up there at UDSparts.com and Island Outdoor LLC. Till next time, guys, thanks for tuning in.